All right, guys, I thought it's time we had a real talk here. So, how much did you actually make on your last trade? Did you make 500 bucks and you were happy with it? Did you make 1500? Did you make 5 grand on your last trade? Well, let me rephrase this question just a little bit to put it in perspective. In order to make the $500 that you made on your last trade, how much money did you utilize? Did you utilize 20 grand out of your 200K account? Did you utilize maybe 50K? How much money did you actually have at risk? Well, Bob traded with me this week. He turned $550. First, we took it to 5,000, then we took it from 5,000 to 15K on 2 trades. And in this video, I'm going to show you specifically which trades did Bob actually take. So an average trader, for whatever reason that is, they've been brainwashed. They believe that in order to be consistent in trading, they have to consistently show a profit on every trade they take, which is humanly impossible because you will make errors. Computers will make errors because they're programmed by human beings. But there are some things that you can be consistent with, and that is what most of the traders entirely fail to do, and that is being true and consistent to your method of trading. So if you're a scalper and you're happy with making, $20 a trade, and you're true and consistent to this method, that's fine. Now, if you're sick and tired of doing this kind of stuff, $100 a day or $500 a day, then definitely pay close attention to this video, because I'm going to try to describe by showing you basically the trades that we have taken in our alert group with our students, the trades that our coaches have taken, including myself, with the students. And using these examples, we're going to try to show you the trade structure of what it actually takes to put together a 40x trade within a very short amount of time, specifically a 72-hour time frame. The 13mm structure of a 40x trade. What is a 40x trade, guys? It's like taking 1,000 times 40 to arrive at $40,000. So for some of you maybe more familiar with trading penny stocks, it would be the same thing as taking a $1 penny stock and hold it until it hits $40. Now here's the kicker. Within 3 days, 72 hours. 72-hour time frame is the most lucrative time frame when it comes to trading weekly options. So imagine going, holding on to this $1 penny stock and watching it go to $40 within 3 days after you actually purchased it. I mean, with a lot of penny stocks, you'll end up holding them forever and ever. A lot of penny stocks have actually a 99% probability of going from $1 down to a 0 or a few pennies. That's what I guarantee you. If you're a penny stock trader, you're going to look at your portfolio right now in your trading account, and I guarantee you 99% of the penny stocks that you have purchased are now worth less, and you're sitting there with a loss. As a matter of fact, most of the cases, you're sitting there with a loss. It shows green on your screen. Why? Well, because you're actually even unable to sell it, and you hope and you sit there and wait that maybe one day it's just going to go to the moon for whatever reason, but that day just never comes. So it's very important for you to pay attention to what I'm about to show you in this video if you want to finally get rid of that mentality and begin winning and trading. Also, this would be an equivalent of a Bitcoin going from $1,500 to $60,000 in 3 days. So for those of you maybe trading cryptocurrencies, there's nothing wrong with that. But, certainly we've never seen Bitcoin going from $1,500 to $60K in 3 days. We've seen Bitcoin making some wild moves. And if you're part of our trading group and Bitcoin, my God, if you just trade with us in the last 14 days here, you would have made a fortune, and that our signals were right on point when it comes to Bitcoin. But even if you trade Bitcoin with leverage, guys, sometimes you are unable to show this sort of returns. So, guys, basically what the hell I'm trying to say here is this. Trading weekly options is the most lucrative type of trading instrument you could possibly be using to arrive at these 40x type trades. Bitcoin can't compare to it. Penny stocks can't beat it. Trading stocks certainly won't be able to get you anywhere close to this. So, question is, Why is it so superior? How the hell do you do it? So let's take a look closer at the structure of a 40x trade. Let me address this first thing. I thought that a lot of traders would think that it's impossible. And they have one common thing that they share, and that is the fact that the reason why they don't think that a 40x type trade is possible within 72 hours is because they are just shocked with fear. They're fear driven. Fear rules their life in trading. Basically, the moment the trader sees their account go in the green, they are so anxious to take the profits because finally they're in a winning trade, their account is in the green, and they just want to get the hell out before they lose any minor gains. Now, there's one major issue with that. Okay, you'll never have a 40x trade if you keep jumping in and out of trades that could get you to 40x type situation. Now, there's nothing wrong with scaling out of the trade along the way as your trade progresses to maybe 9x, 15x, 20x, and until you finally identify that the reversal is there at 40x. But jumping in and out of trades when you trade, when it comes to weekly options, just goes maybe 50%, 100% higher, guys. If you collect and you sell your entire position at those levels, you will never ever have a 40x trade. So this video, the examples I'm about to show you is hopefully going to help you get a vision how your trade should be evolving. What are some of the things you should be looking at in order not to be jumping out too early out of your trades? So before I'm going to give you an example, I'm actually going to propose this question to you. And without knowledge of the chart, it's impossible to even start trading. So the question is knowledge of which chart, and I'm about to show you guys 3 charts from this week of trading, October 11th through 15th, 2021. Knowledge of which chart and 13 market move sequence made you the most money in the last 72 hours. So you can be a beginning trader. This is not actually a tricky question. This is just a question to see what do you think of the chart. And so if you get this wrong, guys, then chances are you're maybe an investor, you're a long-term trader, maybe you're new to trading. If you're a seasoned veteran trader that's been trading for 20, 30 years, you get this wrong, we got to help you now. You got to click one of the links below and schedule a coaching call with a senior trader here at 13 Market Moves ASAP. Chart 1 is Domino's Pizza. So take a look at Domino's Pizza chart. Pretty easy chart here. No crazy moves, and particularly pay attention to the last 72 hours, right? Because all of this, the pre-existing condition on the charts. I mean, we weren't trading it here or here. Actually, Brandon nailed this trade right here for our group where we were buying calls on the dip. This was a magnificent trade on the day of this earnings report. As far as last 72 hours, guys, was this even worth of taking the trade? What do you think? Could this be something that would have made you a lot of money? Okay, chart number 2 is UPST. UPST, last 72 hours, okay, clearly beautiful chart, bullish chart. But the question is how you would have identified that 3 days higher were going to come, right? So keep this in mind. So this stock just keeps moving higher and higher in the last 72 hours. And chart number 3 is Netflix. Could this be the chart that could have made you the most money in the last 72 hours trading weekly options? So we've got the 3 charts. Give yourself an answer. Give yourself an honest answer, okay? Is it Netflix that could have made you a ton of money trading weekly options? Could have been UPST, or could have been DPZ. And I told you, this is no tricky. I mean, anybody should generally be able to get this right. So trying to keep things as simple as possible, okay? So here's the answer, guys. The answer is some of the most profitable trades in the business of trading weekly options are going to be your earnings type trades and your reversal type trade opportunities. So in this case, Okay, it would help not just to understand how the chart actually works on dominoes, which we will take a closer look in just a moment. It would also help you understand the 13 market move sequence and how to trade it. In this case, we're dealing with a sequence 5-11-3. Now, that is a really beautiful sequence. If you know anything about 13 market moves, this 11-3 combination is a very serious trend reversal opportunity. And when it happens around earnings, when the initial reaction to the earnings report happens to be bullish once the market opens, this is some of your most magnificent type trades that you can put together as a weekly options trader. So the actual answer here, guys, you would have made the most money trading just 2 days, not even 72 hours. You would have made the most money trading Domino's Pizza first on the call side and then on the put side. And you're probably sitting there thinking, well, how the hell would I have known how to do that? I'm going to show you in a minute exactly how you can have easily done that. Now, UPST, guys, had a highly bullish sequence of 7-7-7-11. Now, the idea is to actually get in front of that sequence. But once you get the initial 7, in a particular pattern, which is in this case, guys, was a cup without a handle. Now, you probably watched some of our videos on Moderna, Amazon, where I've pointed out accurately a cup with a handle formation. Now, in this case, we have a similar formation, but it is a cup without a handle. So basically, a cup with a handle would be first, it would create a handle and then break out. Now, a cup without a handle is something typically happens to a high momentum stock. If we look back for the history of Netflix, it had many chart compositions like this that staged some magnificent breakouts. And so understanding the behavior of a momentum stock and the market move sequence combined with a pattern could have actually helped you nail this, as we did this week with our students. And let me show you exactly what that trade produced in just a moment. Actually, these two, okay, Domino's and UPST, I mean, they're sort of tie and tie. So if your answer was, well, UPST, that was the clear answer, because, I mean, this one, it just rocketed higher in the same direction. So this was an easy trade to take for anybody because, hey, this thing just kept moving higher and higher and higher. Now, this was a more of a challenging type trade. You would really have to understand, okay, why do you want to go with calls first and then puts, and how to actually nail the top. So it comes with a skill, but that's why Domino's paid a lot more on calls and then puts overall compared to what UPST did with just staying with the calls. But again, most of the people are not even going to stay with the calls. So the third trade was Netflix, guys. And Netflix, going back to Netflix, Netflix didn't do anything, right? If you traded Netflix, you had a very difficult time because the size of the move was magnificently diminished in relation to the size of the moves on the other stocks that I have just shown you. So just by looking at the ATR, the average true range, or the DTR as we call it here at 13 Market Moves, daily trading range, you should have known that the biggest opportunity in trading weekly options in the last 72 hours would definitely not be in Netflix. And there is a reason why Netflix is trading sort of sideways in the last few days. The earnings report of Netflix is on Tuesday, guys. Do not miss it, okay? We may or may not post a video about it, but a sure way for you to know exactly how to trade the Netflix report is to go to 13marketmoves.com, schedule a call with a senior trader right here, and you would know exactly how to trade Netflix on Tuesday and Wednesday morning. So the sequence here, guys, 5-11-3 on Domino's was deadly. UPST 7-7-7-11. Beautiful loss of momentum situation towards Friday. Guys, right now, I'm going to walk you through exactly what has transpired, and the easiest way for you to would be just simply repeat what other students did, and that is simply to follow the alerts that you have been receiving from us if you're a member of the group. So UPST, let's glance at that chart. We're looking at the composition and trade structure of a 40x trade. So the alert initially came out right here on Tuesday, October the 12th. As you can see right here, that is the date, October the 12th. Literally minutes after the market opened, we have sent out an alert multiple times. UPST 325 calls, 335 calls, 325 calls, 335 calls. So, I mean, if you're in front of your phone and you have your alert going out to you multiple times, guys, there's no way you would have missed this one, right? And so, second alert goes for a high strike. Add UPST 365 calls. Now, those 365 calls, guys, I mean, at the time we're getting in, the stock was trading between, 325 and 330 level, on average about 328, 329. I mean, there's no way in the world you would think that this stock would go the same day and the next day to 365 bucks. But understanding that the bigger move is developing here, right? If we go back to this chart right here, okay, this is a beautiful composition on the chart of UPST. And if you want to learn more about these sort of chart patterns, guys, all you have to do is go to 13mmtv.com, and I strongly suggest for you to study the hell out of our charts, patterns, and divergence recognition course. So, again, this is a pattern that we've seen many times in high momentum stocks. Once that level is clear, you see that we send the alert right about here when this possible cup without a handle was about to clear this level. It was destined to clear this level because, as you can see, the volume kept accelerating. You had other indicators such as MACD, and the 13 market move sequence was highly bullish. So to us, it was a no-brainer. It was about 90% probability that this stock was about to break out. So that's when we start sending the alert right here when it tries to clear that level. Now notice what an average trader would do. They get in, they watch the stock go maybe $10, $15 higher, or even worse than that. They watch the stock go $5 higher, and they'd get out. They'd get out with a miserable profit. And what would end up happening to them is they would actually miss on this entire move. Now, that day already, we informed our group that this stock is potentially going to $420. Now, that by itself happened when? On Tuesday, guys, on Tuesday, when the stock was right here, we knew that based off everything that we look at here at 13 market moves, this stock had potential to move all the way to 420 bucks. Now, it hit 400. As this trade develops, okay, it's time sometimes to adjust your targets. So on later, you're going to see that we actually nailed the top within just a few dollars. But nonetheless, you would have been able to buy this 365 calls for just $1. And by Friday, they were going for as much as 40 bucks, guys, $40. So there is your 40x trade right here. Now, structure of a 40x trade, guys, it's important to understand that we're not jumping out. Once we identify a particular chart pattern, and once we identify a particular 13 market move sequence, what we do is we actually stay with the trade. So in this case, while the stock moves slightly higher the following morning, it keeps moving. Since we get our guys in this trade right here, it keeps moving higher, so everybody clear on their profit. The next morning it pops a little bit higher, you'd be tempted to sell. But you really have to focus on a bigger move. So what do? Guys, what do? On October 13th, okay, we tell you to add more calls. So right here, add UPST calls. On October 13th. On October 13th, we'll tell you to add more calls. Not jump out of the trade, because clearly anybody would have jumped out of the trade right here. You're already making money. But it's your focus and ability to stay with a bigger move that gets you to a point where you can collect on a 40x trade. And as you can see, on October 14th, what happens again? On October 14th, we told you to actually add to this position right here. Okay, so you would have been adding right here again. So you've got initial alert, add to the position, not jump out of this beautiful trade and collect, not jump out and collect, add, okay? And that brings us to this next moment on this chart is October 15th. There's nothing wrong actually with sliding out and selling some of the position along the way. So, I mean, at some point when you're up 900,000%, when you're up 9, 10x, there's nothing wrong selling some. It just sucks if you have a small account, you only bought just 1 or 2 contracts. because you'd have to basically sell your whole position. With bigger accounts, it's a lot easier. If you hold in 100 contracts, you can sell, 20, keep 80, and so on. So you never want to actually sell your entire position once you identify a trade structure like I've just shown you on the chart. And guys, I can't give you every secret in one video, so if you do want to know more information about how we actually nailed this trade, guys, not only the entry part, right, and the ad and another ad, but how did we know that it was time to get out right here? Because at that point right here, guys, we switch into puts. Okay, we collect the gains, we switch into puts, and we actually make money on the put side. We bought 395 strike puts with guys that were trading with me, 395 strike, 390s made money, 380s were profitable at one point. But basically, we knew that this was time to get out of the trade. Elvis has left the building, okay? This was time to reverse the trade. And so understanding the trade structure, understanding the chart pattern is what communicates to you how long do you want to stay in this thing. Okay, why do you want to add here? Why do you not want to jump out here? Why do you maybe want to sell a little bit, okay, but overall stay still bullish right here? Okay, everything is right here, guys. The top was nailed by 13 market moves within just a few bucks, guys. And going into puts right here, adding to puts right here, guys, it was a beautiful trade because we did add right at this point. So let's take a look at Domino's and why Domino's is such a superb trade to a trade like UPST, because it requires a lot more skill. It requires understanding behavioral patterns around earnings reports. So when Domino's initially reports earnings, Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan has been driving this thing higher, even on earnings reports where the company has not done well. Even going back to the times where the stock was trading in the 160s and the 200 level and so on, it would announce not so good earnings and they would still push this damn thing higher. If it was any other stock, it would have dropped. So they tried this trick again, and we've seen it on certain earnings reports. We've seen it fail. So the stock announces earnings, it drops, and what most of the people do, right, you see all these big red bars going in, you'd be very tempted to just short it at the open the next day. You're like, oh my God, they missed on earnings. Okay, the last thing you would expect is for this thing to actually rocket higher. But yet, what do we tell you guys? Shortly after market open, we tell you to buy calls. The report clearly says it's the worst quarter, their sales are down, it's the first big miss in like 5 or 10 years. The report is horrible. Why do you want to buy calls? It's because this big institutional investors, okay, they're going to use this opportunity to bring the stock temporarily higher so they could do what? So they could actually build a rather substantial short position. So once they pump it up higher, you can see that the stock goes slightly sideways for a little bit, and we start getting these bear reversal candles back to back to back. Okay, now notice, not only do we cash out right around this level of 485 to 489, but we also reverse into puts. Okay, we also reverse into puts. So initial trade was right here. The stock was trading about 465, 470. We were buying these 475 puts. 475 puts were going roughly for about $1.50, $2 when the stock shot up to 485, 489, literally within just a couple of hours, guys. We're selling these contracts between 10 and 14 bucks. Now that right there is about a 7x trade. And then this is what happens on the next alert. We actually tell you not just to exit, okay, but we actually have you nail this, what we call a round trip trade. So round trip trade, we send you a message to buy DPZ. Now notice all of these calls and puts were purchased within the same trading day. Okay, so on October 14th, we tell you to buy Domino's 470 calls right here. And then we're actually telling you to switch to 475 puts. So basically, you'd sell your calls and you would switch immediately into puts right here. And so this trade, we're suggesting 475 puts. Some of the guys that were trading with me, we got into 480 puts. But guys, these puts, okay, they were better than Bitcoin. Let me show you, right? So Basically, this 475 puts that were going for as much as $20 the next day. So to walk you through the trade, if you put $1,000 in this alert right here, you would have been at $7,000 right here. You reverse $7,000 into puts, you would have been at $140,000 right here. Okay, so this is slightly better than taking the $1,000 in UPST and carrying all the way to 30, 40K. So this right here, guys, is why you want to be a trader. This right here, guys, is a skill that you can acquire. And most of the guys will fail trying to acquire the skill because they don't know what the hell to look at to be able to nail trades like this. And so for the time being, just know that it's possible. The easiest way for you to do it is just sign up for the alerts and execute, and be brutal on your execution, and understand not every trader is going to be a winner, but with 13 market moves you can nail some crazy wild moves in the market, and if you stay consistent with the strategy, you'll make a ton of money. So add Domino's puts, add Domino's puts. When was that? Right here. So a typical trader, right? We started the video by saying, hey, you cannot get to a 40x trade if you're going to jump out when you're making 50% on your option position or 100% on your option position. Notice, instead of just jumping out right here on the bounce, what do we say? Add puts, add Domino's puts, add puts right here. Guys, we said add puts. And so, needless to say, it was a beautiful trade. It was a trend reversal opportunity. We talked a lot about trend reversal opportunities in our charts, patterns, and divergences recognition course. So make sure, guys, if you're really trying to, not just, hey, anybody can take the alerts. I will tell you the truth about the alerts, though. Not everybody's going to have the balls to execute them and stay with the trade. So if you really want to know the secret sauce that goes behind this, then charts, divergences course, and patterns recognition is going to definitely get you on the right map as far as trying to figure out trades like this. Now, with the earnings season, you guys know, Trade Like a Rockstar course specifically designed to help you understand how to trade the earnings reports. So make sure you take that course if you haven't already. So to summarize this, guys, it's quite simple. So in order for you to be able to nail a 40x trade, number one, what you need to understand the chart. You need to understand a few things about charts. You need to understand the charts patterns to understand that you want to trade a certain pattern within a certain amount of time frame. You never want to look just at one chart time frame. You want to look at multiple time frames. And in our crypto course, we point out all the time frames that we suggest that you look at before you get into your next trade. Now, understanding the sequence, the 13 market move sequence. So first, you identify the chart pattern. Second, you calculate the 13 market move sequence. Between these two things, guys, between this and this, you got a really good, strong probability of getting a crazy trade, while others are just trying to go after $100, $500 a trade. And the third thing is something that it's going to be hit or miss until you actually take a bunch of trades. It will come to you a little bit more naturally, but a certain way to avoid missing good entries or making poor exits is to actually work with a 13 market moves coach. Work with somebody who's actually behind these trades, who's actually, instead of making a bunch of YouTube videos out there, guys, I mean, you probably noticed we haven't been making a bunch of videos because we've been busy trading. Now, other YouTubers, they make videos so they can, advertise their channel, so they can actually collect ad revenue from YouTube. Guys, there are no ads. Our channel is not even monetized. We don't give a shit about that. Okay, what we do care about is that hopefully you learn something along the way and you would be a better trader. And our courses, guys, take time to put together, ton of time and energy and everything goes in these courses. So I hope you take them, because I don't know how people trade without this stuff. It doesn't make any sense for me to go chase all these other strategies and opportunities without really giving yourself a 100% full solid commitment to really educate yourself and understand what is it in the secret recipe. How does this guy go from $550 to $15,000 in 72 hours while, you know, somebody you know, fuck it, it's not somebody you know, it's you, sitting there trying to figure out how to catch a, you know, trade that's going to make you 500 bucks. So basically, if I was to summarize this video, guys, the 40x type trade is the result of your ability to focus on a bigger move, not on where your profit and loss statement is in the next 5 minutes, in the next 10 minutes, in the next hour. Okay, if you focus on a bigger move that is evolving on the charts over the course of the next day, over the course of the next 2 days, over the course of the next 3 days, and you develop the discipline to stay with the trade, okay, you will be able to nail your 40x trade in the not so distant future. So learn to calculate the trend reversals, guys. This is another highly desirable skill. If you're trying to be a highly profitable trader, you can't live without trading the trend reversals, guys. And so all of these trend reversals, the way we're doing, they're based on 13 market move sequence. So if you are slightly familiar with 13 market moves, do yourself a favor and study it in detail by going to 13marketmoves.com and getting the actual authentic course. So again, I invite you to go to 13mem TV, guys, schedule a call with a senior trader at 13marketmoves.com. And guys, right now, this market is starting to move. It's a beautiful thing. We haven't seen the market do this in a while. There's trades on the upside. There's trades on the downside. This is a trader paradise. Do not miss out on the wild trades during this earnings report season. Again, if you want to know how you can make potential 10x, 20x, 40x trade on trading Netflix on Tuesday and Wednesday morning, make sure you click the link below this video. Let's roll. I wish everybody happy trading next week. I'll catch you guys in the next video soon. Let's roll.